people, welcome to Unique Perspectives, a podcast that makes you think. I'm Clayton.
Uncle Phil.
Trey.
And today we're going to talk about managing our aggressions and how we can make it, do you know what I mean, to a positive thing. We're going to talk also about like the stereotypes that come with that. Do you see what I'm saying? Especially for the people on this panel. So, like, to you, like, I wouldn't say like I don't want to say how do you manage your aggression, but like, what's your like thoughts on like how you should manage it, if that makes sense?
No, I hear you, bro. I think like managing aggression, I think links into like just being self-aware. Because I think also what they call it, like emotional maturity. Because I feel like you can be vexed because everybody's entitled to be vexed, but I think it's how you use that aggression. Like, so you might just lash out and box off a wall, or you might just think, let me just take myself away from this situation, let me cool down, let me take a minute, and then let me reevaluate. But I think like it all depends on your circumstance. Sometimes if you don't have a space or a place to take yourself away, you might lash out because it's too much built up. Do you know what I'm saying? But then if you can take yourself away from a situation and you have like the mental awareness to do that for yourself, to be like, look, this is just getting me mad, let me step back, then yeah, I think that's what that is. Do you know what I mean? But like I say, it's different for everyone. And then also like, what do you think, you guys? Because when you're young, how would you have reacted to similar situations now versus then?
Well, when I was younger, I used to always feel like I had to respond to something. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think like most young people, like you feel like you have to respond all the time. So, well, someone could just say something, and it couldn't even be in an offensive way. They could have just said something, and I might have took it the wrong way.
Comeback, that's self-defense in them years.
Do you see what I'm saying? And that's probably like you said, lack of awareness. And I also think when you're younger, it's a lot more. I feel like you want to be not better than people. Your ego is a little bit bigger in a way because you want to be like the best at school. You want to be at school. You want everyone to sort of respect you. And what it is school's quite a big place sometimes. So naturally, I think you're a bit more defensive because you don't know everyone that well there. You see what I'm saying? I think that's
where that emotional maturity though.
Maybe. Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? Is that a difference between do I defend myself just because I feel I need to? Because if you're more emotional aware, you might be able to brush that off and be like, whatever you say, I don't care. But when you're younger, is it like I can't have that? Well, you know what I'm saying?
It's another thing as well, like your friends and you can joke, yeah, but if someone at school that you, like, I don't know about you, but for me, if someone at school that I didn't really know that was trying to say something, I was coming back harder at them than anyone because they got to understand, like, do you know what I'm saying? They have to understand they can't come at me. You see what I'm saying? I think that's, like, you're right though, so a lot of it is emotional maturity. What do you think about it, bro? Like, obviously, maybe not as a kid, but now, like, you're a man, like, what would you think about it?
I think it's based on your perspective, innit? When you're younger, because of like when you're younger, you're ignorant, innit? So like you don't have a lot of like knowledge or information. Plus, you're not really depends, but you're not really taught how to think for yourself, innit? But for myself, like it's just seeing different perspectives and actually reflecting on the situation and actually thinking to myself, is that even worthy of me getting angry over? Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Sometimes it's easy to get caught up in your emotions, but when you actually deep it, I think that's when you start to like develop emotional intelligence. Do you know what I mean? And then you no longer get angry over the things you used to get angry about. You know what I'm saying? Like with myself, like now people will say I'm calm. That's just because to me a lot of things are not that deep. So it's hard to get me angry about things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like experiences, or do you reckon that you've used like experience and having an outlet, or is that just general growth?
Yeah, general growth, bro. Just reflecting a lot. Because with reflecting, like you question yourself, like why did that trigger me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And also, am I actually in control of that situation? And what I mean by that, like let's say for example, and let's say you have a girlfriend and then your girlfriend leaves you. You might be upset, but that's something you couldn't really control. Do you know what I'm saying? So when you understand there's certain things you can't control, there's no point getting angry over it.
I hear that.
I also think as well, like sometimes when you have people that always give you sympathy for things like that, it makes you naturally be upset about it because you think you should be upset about it. Whereas if you've got people that tell you like, okay, this happened, but what can you do something different? Like, how can you learn from this? Like you said, reflecting. I think that also helps you because then you don't look for the sympathy, you look at how you can solve the problem or how can I not feel this way next time. So I think it's just about, like you said, how you look at it, but also what people you're around. Because if you're around people that are like telling you that's bad news, I feel so bad for you, it can be a good thing sometimes, but it can also like make them behaviours where you feel frustrated, and then that's when maybe you react in a certain way.
But then I'm also thinking, because of what you said, that triggered me into thinking, what about if like managing your aggression is kind of related to the environment?
Yeah, I was about to say that.
I can see that in your face as well. That was the same thing, because I was thinking, you know what about for the people that like you grow up in an aggressive environment? So either like you have a parent that's aggressive, a sibling that's aggressive, or just you grow up in an environment like some of us have. Do you get what I'm saying? Where aggression is your defense. Do you get what I'm saying? So to protect yourself, even if it's not like physical, it's like even for emotional hurt and sometimes physical, like aggression is your defense. Do you get what I'm saying? Or that's what you know to be an outlet. That's what you've seen, and that's what you know is to be your outlet. Like you blow off steam via aggression, then do you know what I'm saying?
And another thing is like, as well, like depending on what type of environment you grow up in, you're taught to already kind of be angry at certain things, if that makes sense.
100. No, I get that.
But again, that's why I think reflecting is key, because that's how you develop critical thinking skills. Do you know what I mean? And actually think to yourself, like, why am I actually even getting angry like over that? That's not even that deep. Do you know what I'm saying? 100. But a lot of the time, people don't think. People just kind of stay ignorant and stay kind of invested in, I call it like the worldly things, and they can't take themselves out of like the world. So like for me, for example, like my body will be here, but I'm able to like actually like see the world, if that makes sense. Like I can take my mind out and actually see the world and reflect and stuff and question things, you know what I mean? Instead of being
you take yourself out of the situation, basically. Like you're visualizing, like here's what happened or where I'm at, but is this really, you know what I'm saying? What's important? Is this really deep? What I'm going through or what I'm dealing with right now? I get that. Yeah, and I hear that.
I think though as well, some things like enhance certain behaviours. So for example, like say you haven't got your stuff together, that there might be something that doesn't normally bother you that would bother you because you haven't got your stuff together. So or like you might drink a lot of alcohol, you might do drugs or something like this, you see what I'm saying? And that will enhance your behaviour just because your body doesn't feel good, you see what I'm saying? So I think sometimes when people act aggressively, it's because like what they're putting into their body or how they feel about themselves in general. I don't always think like aggression comes from what's happening. It can just be like the way someone, you know, like you see it, some people are looking for an argument or confrontation sometimes. And I think sometimes it just comes from how your body is, how you feel at the time, and how you think you just don't think about the reaction. And that's why I think it's important that
I think people are just naturally triggered because of things that they're kind of told. So I feel like you said, people are naturally looking for argument just because as soon as like they're born, they're told like certain things, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which just makes them sort of look for an argument.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But yeah, I was going to say something else.
I think modern life, though, not to interrupt, I do think modern life kind of, especially maybe like Western society, like for us lot, I think some of that does perpetuate a lot of aggression. Maybe not like violence, but actual like aggression sometimes. Like, because even if you deep it, when we was in like school and stuff, bro, fight videos was a thing, bro. I used to go home weekly to watch that World Star and watch people get their heads slapped off. Do you get what I'm saying? And I would find it hilarious, bro. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, even if you think a lot of combat sports, like society is like really grown off of those things. Like, it's a thing. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, WE man told me football come from kicking man's head. Do you get what I'm saying? somewhere deep rooted. I think like aggression has been like a fundamental of like societal growth. I don't like, do you know what I'm saying? When you lot disagree,
I've got a question
but
actually.
I think it's been a thing.
Do you feel like humans are like naturally like violent? Do you see what I'm saying? Because even like in like maybe not like the old, but in the olden times, there's a lot of violent things they used to do to people to like punish them. And people used to watch it. Like for example, like they used to like chop people's heads off, and there used to be a crowd. You see what I'm saying? So do you feel like humans and people used to go there and enjoy it like as an event? Do you feel like it's a natural thing that humans like are just violent, or is it just?
I do think there's an element of in all animal kingdom. There's an element of just natural level of aggression. Do you know what I'm saying? You fight for dominance, like you fight for like just your defense, your home. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you fight if you're a predatory animal, you fight for food. Do you get what I'm saying? So I feel like there's an element where that does exist, and I feel like you can't eradicate certain traits that are just natural to you. Do you know what I'm saying? Like fight or flight. There's a breed of people that will either run in a situation that they feel threatened, or they'll stand their ground and battle it out. Do you know what I'm saying? If you corner like a mouse or something, eventually he's gonna turn around and go at you because he's got nowhere else to go. Do you get what I'm saying? So I think there's an element where depending on what you're going through, where you are in life, do you know what I'm saying, and your general makeup, where anybody can eventually go at you. But I just think my main thing, like in this topic, I think is just what nowadays we know, like you can stand and say, all right, if I box man in his face for telling me something I don't like, that's wrong. Do you get what I'm saying? Or even if you feel man deserved it, what's the ways to better control yourself? Because also us as we all know our lot, do you know what I'm saying? We've also got stereotypes that we're gonna face. Do you know what I'm saying? We'll leave that as another topic for another day. But what I'm saying is, how do you know to say like, look, man, louder? Do you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna fall into this what I'm feeling right now.
I think just like what Kafel said, it's not actually that deep, really, is it? Because if we get angry all the time about what other people are saying, we're taking their opinion. Do you know what I mean? We're taking their opinion too serious, I think, especially when people are talking nonsense. Do you see what I mean? So I think it's just about like realizing that actually it's not that serious. What they say won't affect me. And I think once you get to that point, it's a lot easier to manage your aggression because you're not holding their opinion. Do you know what I mean? You're not holding silly opinions in high regard.
I think that comes with wisdom. Like, so my thing is like, I always look back at like, what would you tell somebody younger? So let's say, for example, one of your little cousins or family members, whatever, came home and said, "Look, man was running his mouth today, like clapped off his head." Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah, it's not deep for you at the time because you'll think, "I know better now." You're older, but at the time, his thing or her thing, whatever, is justified to them. How do you basically guide them in a way or give them advice that's to let them now know or see from the perspective of maybe that's unnecessary? Do you get what I'm saying?
I feel like I think the only time I feel like aggression is justified is if like you're protecting yourself, protecting like a loved one. Do you know what I'm saying? Because now, like you said, you have no, like with that mouse analogy, like you have no choice now. Do you know what I mean? But in terms of like teaching young people, it's about teaching them not to start like, don't just pick on someone for no reason. I think like looking at the world today, bro, seems like we get our entertainment from kind of like other people's pain.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and I think like that's a bit mad. If when you actually
the world's been like that for a long time. I just think with media now, it's allowed people to have far more access to it. But I think it's always been that way, like what Clayton was saying.
Yeah, but going back to what you said earlier about when Clayton asked that question about like did humans always have that kind of natural instinct of being aggressive? I think yes. So then you could always like protect yourself if needed. But I feel like nowadays, bro, we've got so much information, so much knowledge that you're able to elevate and be able to control it.
I agree with that as well.
Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like if you look at every generation, there's always been growth. Do you know what I mean? And I feel like the more you know, the more accountable you have to kind of hold yourself. Do you know what I mean? To get to elevate to a higher level of thinking. You know, like there's different states of thinking. They say like we've got the animal state. Do you know what I mean? Where we're just aggressive and we're just thinking about like producing and just thinking about like survival stuff. Then you've got that, you know, the higher thinking state. Do you know what I mean? Where you're thinking out of just survival. Now you're thinking about building and do you know what I mean?
Proper.
But yeah.
I also think though the way society's kind of built, it is to like make people go against each other in a way because even when you go for a job, sometimes you're competing against someone else. You see what I'm saying? So I think society's made it where everyone's competing with each other. Do you know what I mean? To get resources to where sometimes you do become a little bit selfish and you do envy people if you're not using your brain properly. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you said, if you haven't got that information, I think, and you don't understand it, I think also aggression comes from not understanding things. You see what I'm saying? Like you see it in kids sometimes. If they don't get the answer they want, do you know what I mean? They get angry.
Like you're in a state of ignorance.
Yeah.
I do think though, I hear what you're saying though, but I was gonna say, well, what did you just say before the kid thing? Now dementia kicking again. Now I'm being serious, man.
You felt me.
Like you.
I just said like our society is like we're always competing with each other for like jobs.
That's what I was gonna say. Some of that is normal. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I was gonna say, you can be angry at competition, but I think competition is healthy. Competition promotes growth, and competition sometimes elevates you to. Do you know what I'm saying? So I think people not wanting competition, like, is whack sometimes. Like, we went to a school, but our school used to tell us like, oh, it doesn't matter who wins. They would put like people that aren't the fastest runners to run the races, bro. Like, don't tell people that just competing matters. No, it doesn't.
And you're almost telling people that they should accept failure as long as they try.
I think, don't get me wrong, you have to accept failure in life. Yes, you don't aim for it.
No.
Do you get what I'm saying? You don't aim for it. You put the best man to do the best job.
And you shouldn't. You shouldn't go into things saying I might lose. You see what I'm saying? You have to go into that thing saying I'm gonna win.
Yeah, you aim to win. Always aim for success.
Yeah.
But failure is also on the pathway to success more time. And you get what I'm saying?
I agree, and that's what I was saying about people giving you sympathy. Do you know what I'm saying? Because when you put their behaviours in people, they'll naturally look for it. And when you get older, people don't look at it that way. Whereas, if you try your best but you don't do it, you'll get credit. It doesn't work like that. You see what I mean? Like, so I think when you teach that in schools, and then when you get older, the world's completely different. That's where a lot of people's frustration comes from, because they almost feel like they've been lied to. Do you know what I mean? And then I just think that's a lot of the reason. It's just the lack of understanding, the ignorance, like you said, where people aren't seeing the world for what it really is. And then when they go out in a big wide world, it's a completely different ball game, because obviously, do you know what I mean? It's everyone be all in the big